Right. Should be able to see that now. Someone give me a thumbs up. Good. Right. Okay. Have a little listen of that.
Welcome to Module 2, Through Runs. This module will focus on these three components of a through run, teaching you what it is, when to make it, and how to execute. A through run is a run forward into space behind a defender, usually made diagonally. They confuse defenders and allow a team to get into dangerous areas. We will look at 4 different types of through runs. First, we have a straight pass to a diagonal run, shown here. Next, we see the diagonal pass to a straight run. Third is the diagonal pass to a diagonal run. And last, we see a straight pass to a straight run. This straight pass to a straight run option rarely works, and later on in this lesson, you'll learn why. Through balls are very effective in a few scenarios. The first is when the back line is high, as there is all this space behind them for the forward to exploit. The second is when the back line is flat, as one pass has the ability to beat all 4 of these defenders. The third is when a player is out of position, as we see the highlighted defender pulled out, leaving this space open. Let's watch some film and see why some through runs succeeded and why some failed.
Just stop it there just quickly. There were 3 different ways that through balls can be really effective. Of those 3, which was the high back line, someone out of position, and I've forgotten the other one now. I'll just rewind that back. And the back line is flat. Which one do you think we as a team are most guilty of? Which ones do you think we fail at sometimes at making it easy for teams?
Player out of position.
Player out of position. Is that Owen saying that?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
High line.
High line, yeah. Think we're ever guilty of a flat line? Don't be shy. No? So mainly player out of position and a high line. Okay.
In this clip, none of the conditions that tell us to play a through ball are met. As the ball works its way to the player at the bottom of the screen, he attempts a fairly straight through ball to this player, who is also making a straight run. Additionally, we can see that no one in the back line for the white team is out of position. They are not caught flat, and they are not holding a very high line. Because of these factors, the through run is unsuccessful. Here, we will see a successful through run, in which the player takes advantage of a defender out of position. As the player at the bottom of the screen plays a ball into the forward for white, we see this centre-back getting drawn out of position. As the white team works the ball up the field, we can see that the player remains out of position, which leaves space open here. The runner takes advantage of this, making a diagonal run and receiving a straight pass and getting in on goal. In this last example, we see a through run that takes advantage of a defensive line that is flat and high. The ball is with this highlighted player. The runner here has noticed that the back line is flat and high, leaving space in behind. So, the player makes a straight run.
If we look at the 4 blue players there, defenders, what could they be doing better? And what do they need to be aware of? Which ones would you change position? Just throw ideas out. There's no right or wrong here, by the way.
Yeah, mind you, could be trying to get him offside. maybe he needs to come across a bit to intercept. But I don't know, it's pretty good. Don't you think? I think that's pretty good. Maybe
It's a big gap.
it is a big gap, but
You think that player there is in a good position, the bottom right-hand player?
No,
Why?
because he's
Because-
not.
He's not marking anyone, did you say? Okay.
Yeah,
Where would you put him? Where should he be?
tucked in a bit more.
Tucked in here?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other thoughts on that?
what do you think? See, I disagree with that because I think if he tucks in,
That plays for
it opens this space up in the channel. I think he's in quite a good position, to be honest, at the moment, because I think.
You're not muted, so you're not supposed to be helping.
Sorry. Oh yeah, I look. See what you think. I'm just here.
Oh.
So, as
What would you-
Nick said there, if that player moves up into that space there, what about this white player down here?
He's got loads of space.
He's got loads of space. So that player is actually in a good position because one, he's covering that player running at him, but two, he can also cover the player here if he receives the ball. If he goes over there, then that player has loads of space to run. So I'd say he's in a relatively good position.
And then he could just play a ball down the line.
Yeah, exactly. You just play it exactly. What about the two central defenders? Are they in a
One
good or
for-
bad position?
Bad position.
One should be sitting deeper.
Yeah.
One
One in the
should be
back.
like
Well, what do you say?
one should be like touch tight to him so that he can't run.
The one in the back right should be sitting further back.
Here.
Yeah, that one.
yeah,
Yeah,
that one should be
he,
sitting behind the man.
he should be tight to him.
Okay, it might be because he's literally just started running and he's taken a second to start running with him. Okay, what about that player?
He should be trying to block an angle.
Okay, so he might be thinking, I've got the player behind me and I'm standing in front. So he might be thinking, actually, I'm doing an okay job. Someone mentioned a comment earlier about the positioning of the back line and how that might be important in that position. And they might think, actually, we're in a good position. But which player might be letting the team down there? If they think
Probably the right centre back or the right back.
the right back's up here. Is that the one you mean?
Yeah.
Why would he be letting everyone down?
Working back though, isn't it?
Oh no, because probably not. It's probably the right centre back.
Yeah, I was going to say he could be.
That one. Yeah.
That one. Okay.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on that? If they think they're in a good position, and I agree, who might not be in the best position?
The midfielders.
No. Listen to this player down here. What's the alarm?
Don't know. As if I was at scanning. Yeah. Yeah.
If that player is a bit further forward, what would we call that player? If that player there is standing further forward and that player is just about to make the pass, what would happen?
He'd be offside.
Right, there we go. Well, actually, these players might think, okay, go on, you run, but you're offside. But actually, that player there, he's looking at the ball. He's not looking at where his defenders are and not realizing that actually he's just caused that problem. So you have to work as a unit. So you not only need to know where all the players are, you need to know where your players are. Because if you're working as a back line, if one of you's miles behind, he's actually causing the problem because you're absolutely, I think Joe said, that player should actually probably be further in there because that player's got a run in on goal as a result of that player being much deeper there. All right. Right, I'll just play it on there, but I just thought that was an interesting point to bring up. So listen on.
To receive a diagonal pass and is released in on goal. Please move on to the lesson to learn how to properly execute a through run. Now that you understand how to recognize cues for a through run, let's learn more about how to make them. Keep your eye on the forward on the white team highlighted above. As he moves across the field, he must now decide which through run to make. Which option is best given the positioning of the defenders? Correct. Let's first take a look at why option A is through run to make.
Did everyone get that? So in terms
Which
of
option?
making the through run, you can either make a through run A or through run B. So if we just talk them through a little bit, why might A not be the best option for a through run? What are the issues that you're going to have with that? It's not that it can't. It's not possible. What makes it difficult?
Harder pass.
There's two defenders in the way.
There's a harder passing line.
The centre back's gonna come straight across it before the other attacker can get it.
Okay, if he tips the ball into that area, is it still possible?
So
Yeah,
50
because it's a back post head.
The goalkeeper.
Yeah.
You're aiming for a very small space, aren't you?
Oh yeah, and the goalkeeper, because he could play a long ball and the goalkeeper could easily come out and catch it.
But right, if it lands there, he won't be catching it.
Oh
but
yeah,
but
he
could
could easily
and
come
get-
out or like head it or something.
Correct. So it's a very small space. So the first thing is you need a really accurate pass because you're trying to hit the ball in the air into a very, very small space. There's not a lot of space to run onto. You've already got a defender you're running past who's going to be very close, and you've potentially got a goal. So that's why it's hard. What's the advantage of the B run then? Why would that player think that's definitely the right run? That's where he should go.
Because the left back's out of position.
Is the left back out of position?
There's more space for him to run into.
It's easier to control because the ball's on the floor.
If the left back's here, who's the left back marking?
Person with the ball.
Yeah. So are they out of position? They're actually with the player with the ball, and that's where they should be.
Yeah, because the other defender's marking the player well, he's like basically marking the player.
Yeah. So
So
I would
there's
say,
only two people to mark.
yeah, if you're the blue team, should you be comfortable in this position defending?
Yeah.
I would say you've got that player can cover that player can cover that player. As long as that player stays with that player, he's covered. That player's got that player's got that runner, and actually you've got a spare player. So actually you've got an overload and you should be fine as long as people do the right thing. So I'll play on now and watch what happens with what they say about the run.
Best given the positioning of the defenders. Correct. Let's first take a look at why option A is not recommended. While this option is a more direct route to goal, there is not enough space behind the centre backs for the forward to run into without the goalie coming out and intercepting the ball. Let's find out what happens when the player chooses this run. As expected, the space between the back line and the goalkeeper was not enough for the forward to collect the through ball. Here we see the correct run, option B. This time, the forward for white, making the run, recognises that the left back for the blue team, highlighted here, has been pulled out of position, leaving all the space behind him. The player with the ball passes it into the open space for the runner to run onto, and the white team now has an opportunity on goal. Now, let's look at a through run that takes advantage of a back line that is flat and high, which is often.
So what are the disadvantages of a high back line?
There's a load
You
of
can
space.
get played over.
Played over, lots of space, absolutely.
They can
If they're
literally
fast attackers, they can just run straight through.
That's what I was going to say. So the types of players you're playing against, you're playing against very quick players, and you give them a whole load of space, then that can cause big problems. And we've seen that in some games this season when we played against some faster players. But if you give them a load of space, then you can't catch them afterwards. They're going to be through on goal, and there's nothing you can do about that.
Like me, they play through ball and they're gone. I ain't catching up.
Not all. But it just means you need to know where you're playing, where you are on the pitch, and what kind of players. So in the first 5-10 minutes of a game, you need to work out how fast players are, so you know, can I give them some space? You also need to know which players are playing in your back line and who's quicker than other players. So you know, and you might then, when you're marking players, faster players might mark faster players sometimes. Not always, but you need to have that, or you need to have players that can cover players and make sure that, you know, certainly when I used to play football, I always used to look, and because I used to normally play left back or right back, and I'd always look across and say, can I get for that player who's being marked at the moment, if that ball goes to them, as cover? Can I make it there? So in the example here, if the ball's being played over, as that player there, right back, I'm thinking, if that ball goes through, can I actually get back quickly enough? How far up do I want to go before I risk that, whilst obviously marking that player as well? So you have to think about that cover, and that's why when you hear lots of players talk about defensive units, they're trying to encourage you have to work all together. There's no point two defenders doing something and the rest of the defenders doing something completely different. Really important that you try and do things together, you communicate together. And we'll come on to that a little bit in the second part as well. I'll play on that.
You must make a decision. Option A is seen here. The highlighted forward will turn and make a straight run. The player with the ball will play a flighted through ball, also straight. Here is option B. This time, the other forward will make a curving, diagonal run across the back line and break into the open space to receive a straight ball from the passer.
Which ball would you play? What's the best option there? A straight through ball there, straight in on goal, or a curved run through?
I'll play A.
You'd play A, so the straight through?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Anyone else for that one?
A.
I'll play A.
A?
Yeah,
Who'd opt for B then?
But I'd go B.
I'll go B.
So
I'd
you
go B.
curve your run through there.
yeah, but with the A, he's left-footed, so they might think that he's going for the curve one, and then the defenders run to where they think he's going to pass it, and then just pass it straight through the defenders, and then he's
On
off.
B, he has a bit of a head start.
Okay, let's take a step back for a second. So what's going to determine where that player kicks the ball? Very simply.
With the foot, with his
Body shape.
No.
What the defenders do.
Trigger before you make the pass. What are you got to do?
Get closed down.
No. So
Someone
that
has to
player
make a
receives
run.
the ball there. What determines what kind of pass he plays?
The movement of the player.
Who said that?
Me.
Okay, correct. If those players don't move, then that player is not going to play a through ball. So, given the distance between the two players, you're probably not going to shout at them. You may use pointing, but more likely is that player there with the ball has got to be switched on and quick enough to recognize as soon as the player starts to make a movement, either that way or that player, then you make that pass at that minute. Because if you delay, what will happen? If he waits too long before he makes the pass, what's going to happen?
He'll be
he's
offside.
going to get pressed.
Correct. No, offside. Correct. He'd run offside, in which case you don't want to make the pass anymore, and he's going to have to start again. So one of the things that defenders and midfielders certainly need to do is they need to recognise when there's an opportunity to make a pass and which is the best one here. So some of you have said a straightforward pass, and different to last time, that there's lots of space there, so that's a more of an advantage that most of you have seen. What's the disadvantage of playing that one? What can you see as an issue, possibly?
You have to get your pass accurate. Like, it has to be a really accurate pass, because it could not get through them two. Could not get through the defenders.
Yeah, so whether he plays it along the floor, that would be really difficult. It's probably likely to be a lofted pass over into that space. What's going to stop him scoring?
Defenders.
Defenders. Okay. How many players, if that player runs through that space there, how many defenders is he likely to have to defend against?
1 or 2.
Definitely that guy is going to be running. Possibly that.
Yeah, because if he plays it through there, then that defender could just easily cut him off.
Possibly, yeah. What about curved run? What's the advantages of a curved run round there?
It might actually get to the place that you wanted to get it to.
So say that again.
It might actually get there because there's more of a gap between the left back, the right back, and the defender.
Yeah, definitely. So there's more of a gap for him to run into.
He's left-footed, so it's kind of easier, maybe.
No, if you're a good player there, left or right, as long as you're aiming into the right space, it shouldn't make a huge amount of difference. If he curves his run into that space,
I'll cut off the.
is it that player is going to follow him?
It immediately cuts off the right back.
There's a player in front of him. Literally, there's a midfielder right in front of the person that's making a pass.
So is he going to be aware of that player's run? Probably not, because he's worried about this guy, isn't he? So if that guy starts running that way, that player is probably going to follow him. And therefore, that player has lots of space to run into.
Yeah.
So let's just play that on now.
Here are the two options again. Though both options could work, choose the better option. Correct. Let's first look at why option A is not suggested. In order to stay on side when executing a throw, timing is key. When making a straight run, it is very difficult to time its back. Here, offside. It's very difficult to time. The problem with this player making a straight run is that they only have this amount of space to run off the ball, whereas the other player has all of this part. On top of this, whereas the other player makes the run, two defenders have to make quick decisions about who will follow him. Likely.
So you picked up most of the things there. The key point there that they were making was about picking up speed.
You picked up most of the things there they were making about picking up speed.
So ultimately, he can start sprinting and then go past the line.
So ultimately, he can start
only got a short
sprinting and then go
before he gets caught offside.
More space to run into.
Here we'll see option B, in which the highlighted forward makes their run to the sideline until the ball is released from the defender's foot, at which point he breaks and is released in on goal. Let's see what this looks like.
Here we'll see B, in which the highlighted forward makes their run to the sideline until the ball is released
and higher. These are both signs that a more direct through could be a great option. Take a glance and see the ball travelling to a player that has space to play a through ball. This is a cue to begin your run. Again, make sure you run even with the back line as we see here, in order to both gain speed and stay on side. Then, the moment you see your teammate play, break the line and run onto the ball. Let's work through one more scenario. The ball is with the highlighted player. As he gives away possession to the right team, we the highlighted options as he runs. Based on the gives away line, which option?
So again here, we've got two options with the player with the ball here.
Two options with the player.
Which do you think is the best option?
A.
A.
Why?
Because
It's easier pass.
with B, there's a player in front of him.
Of the day, there's more space.
Yeah, A, you could just dribble it in.
If you play A, you'll drag the other defender out, which means you can play it across to the other striker.
Yeah.
And then with B, there's a player literally in front of him when he's making the pass.
Correct. It's more difficult for B, I would say, because one, you're trying to play a pass into that space and you've got a player right in front of you there. So you're going to have to curve your pass, which of course is possible. But then you've got a player already there and running there. So if that player is quick, then they might get there, but you're going to be immediately under pressure. Whereas the player here, A, they've got loads of space to run into. Where might that not be a good idea, thinking about the players? If you're kicking it far into that space there, why might that not be a good idea?
He might be really slow.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you've got a really slow player there, or if that player is ridiculously quick, you might think, well, actually, I know he's not going to win that race, so I might try something else. But certainly, if assuming, and most of the time, our players are definitely not slow, and therefore it's not something you think about. But you need to be aware of who you're defending against as well. But definitely, I think A is the better option there. So
Correct. While it's possible that either option could work, option A is better. With option B, the white team does not have advantage of these two blue defenders who have been pulled out of position. Additionally, it will be very difficult to make a pass straight towards goal in this position, as the goalkeeper is likely cut out.
Question, defenders. If you're the blue team at the moment, what position do you think the blue players should pick up or should be looking to do based on their current positioning? Or certainly to roll it back maybe 5 seconds, where should the blue players be? I'm probably more looking at that player and maybe not that player because he might be recovering, but that player, what do you think he should be thinking at this moment in time?
He should be going to press.
Around him.
Trying to get across to block the pass.
Okay, so if he goes, remember this is a 1v1 at the moment. Well, so you're saying going more across here.
Yeah.
So if that player is there, what are you suddenly opening up there?
Space for him to run into.
He can then cut back into that space and he potentially has a shot on goal. You're making the pass over there easier as well, potentially. Again, defenders then, what would you be looking to do there? Try and make it as difficult as possible for the attacking players.
Try and get in a position that you can block like the pass left and the other passes.
So to block one of the passes, realistically, that's probably not going to be possible because you can't kind of get move across. I'm thinking more about where he should move to try and help all the other defenders in the next phase of play. Should he be trying to go in and tackle the player, for instance?
No, try and jockey him and try and take him out wide.
Jockey him, yeah. Look, what about the support player there?
Well, that player could come and press, and if he gets past him, that support player could easily come in and like take the ball.
Okay.
With a slide tackle.
If he presses, that guy can still make his pass, though, can't he?
Yeah.
So, thinking about what's on the picture, so there's a player there, what could that player...
Try and hold him up so then the other guy can get back.
Okay. Hold him up in what way? What would he do? Would he stand his position or move
Drop off a bit?
So if he plays it out wide, then that player could go help him, like try and block a cross or a shot.
I'm thinking more, what would he do before the pass is made? What could he do to be, to be more defensive, to play safe?
Drop back.
Definitely
Drop off.
Who said drop off?
Ollie and Ryan.
Ollie and Ryan. Okay. If the player drops off to there, what's the impact on the next phase of play?
He doesn't have anywhere to go, like the player on the ball.
Player on the ball can keep running if he wants to, can't he?
Yeah.
But
then it's just a running race.
He's going out wide.
If that player goes where my arrow is here,
Yeah.
then you still have the ability. He still has the ability to play a pass wide, but if he drops off there,
it's easier for that player to tackle him.
It's easier for that player to get to that player. Correct. He's then covering.
Yeah, because he's closer.
As well. Absolutely.
And he can also get across to block the shot if he dribbles.
Correct. And
if that player goes out there and then that the person with the ball cuts inside, then there's a recovery person.
Exactly.
Behind him.
That's the other thing. That guy is basically saying, look, I need to protect. If I go in and miss, he's through on goal. If he plays that ball, he's through on goal. I've got to protect as best I can. So I'll just drop off because I can see my mate coming here to make that tackle and he's going to be awkward. So if I go and drop off and I trust my other midfielder to do his job and get back at him, then I know at least I've still got the opportunity to make a tackle, but I'm covering his run in the future, but I'm also covering the forward pass here so I can get across to stop a cross or even a shot on goal. So absolutely. So we'll just play on to the last bit here.
With option A, the white team takes advantage of the two players who have been pulled out of position. Space they leave open. Here,
You know what DK stands for?
by playing it to this runner, the player is able to receive a
Jockey. You just jockey.
goal, as we can see.
When press, you just
Before
jockey.
moving on to the quiz, here is a quick review of what we have learned so far.
So that's a really short example of only a few minutes of video, but certainly a few good talking points there. I wanted to do one more with you guys. So just bear with me 1 second.
Oh, where'd he go?
Don't worry. I'll bring it back.
James, what you eating?
Sausage.
Nice.
Pasty?
Sausage.
Oh, a sausage. Yeah. No, not yet.
Okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to share with you. Can you see that?
Not yet.
No, hold on. Got to share my thing. Right, let's try that again. Right, should be able to see that now. Can we all see the screen?
Yeah.
Should be a football.
Yeah.
Right, okay. These are the goals that we conceded against Cheltenham. So what I'd like us to do is I'm just going to play this through and then we'll go back and try and look to see what we could have done better as a team. That means right from attacking, midfield, defenders, goalkeeper, everybody. What little things we could have done. There's 3 goals, I believe, in this one.
I don't think I played this game.
Sorry?
I don't think I played this game.
You were ill.
You can still comment on what could have been done better.
Yeah.
On that. So just have a little look through and then we'll have a chat after.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to eat my broccoli.
Yeah, when they break, they all go forward.
You after my dinner? What after that?
What? Yeah.
Okay.
Get the ball to go forward. Set. Four.
Okay, so I think we would all comfortably admit that none of those were particularly great goals to give away.
Welcome to Module 2, Through Runs. This module will
So
focus on
all
these
we're
three.
trying to look at here is, let me just pull up this.
Welcome to Module 2,
Ooh,
Through Runs.
So I just want to be able to draw on the screen. So I just.
This module will focus on these three components of a through run, teaching you what it is, when to make one, and how to
Right, let
execute
me just
one.
start that again.
A
Okay.
through run is a run forward into space behind a defender, usually made.
Okay.
We will look at four different types
if we
of
look at
through
this
runs.
and pause it there, how do we
First, we
think
have a
our
straight
Alex, you can't see it.
run, shown here.
in terms of the defence there, are we in a good position? I'm going to just scroll it up a little bit, sorry.
We can't see it.
We can't see it.
Oh, sorry, let me share again. Sorry, I can get rid of. Again.
We can see it now.
Yeah, okay, cool. Right, I'll just run it forward again and before pausing it.
Oh, okay.
Sharp.
Right, so what's our biggest problem here, do we think? We've lost the ball in midfield. What's the biggest problem here?
That there's nobody on that side.
Yeah, so we've got.
They're all in the middle. There's
got,
literally so much space out here, so he could have like a little run and come down there.
Correct. Yeah. So there's no cover here. So we've gambled having loads of players going forward. We've lost the ball. So we've now got a massive amount of space for that other player to run into. I'm just going to play it on a little bit more. Okay. So here, George has got into tackle there, so he's trying to block the man. That player correctly identifies an easy pass. What could we have done better there?
The midfield could have dropped back a bit further.
So what we haven't done it because we've got, I can't see which player that is right at the back there. I'm not sure, but that player is running.
That's Ollie.
Player. No, I think Ollie's here. I think that might be Heiko actually. I think Heiko's covering that player there. So they're running. So if that player makes a through ball, Heiko's with him. So we'll play it on a little bit.
Maybe I should have stepped up.
Sorry? We may see that, Ollie. So let's just play it a little bit. So we can see there that Ollie was actually in the space there. But instead what's happened is the player's comfortably received the ball in midfield and has now got control, and I think now turns and then is looking to go forward there.
But he could have played another pass literally forward to where he's facing because there's two players there unmarked as well.
Here, correct, yeah. So one of the things we would look at is saying, well, how are our defenders shaped? Where's our central midfielders? Because I think in that game we did get dominated quite badly in midfield, so we did lose possession and not have people sticking in the middle all the time. So let's just run that forward a little bit more and pause it there. So what are our problems here?
Yeah. There's too many through ball options.
Yeah, so at the moment, that player has run unopposed forward, and there doesn't seem to be anyone challenging. So he can shoot. He's got that player there that he could play a through ball to, which Heiko may or may not be able to defend against. You've got, looks like maybe number 4, that Cheltenham player there can play a through ball. They play their through ball. So what's happened effectively is they've got 3 players against what I think is Ollie behind there, with 1 player bearing down on goal. So Ollie, do you remember what you did here? Start from panic.
I probably stepped back or forwards.
Okay. What do we think? Owen, what would you have done?
I might have. Well, to be fair, Ollie's kind of in a good position because if he goes to mark them 2 players there, then that person with Heiko has just got a free. Like he could just play that ball straight through there, and then he could just have a shot.
Yep. There's no right or wrong, by the way. It's very difficult because you've basically got 4 players around Ollie with no other players around him.
Yeah, and then there's George and Sonny out here, which are way too far.
Exactly, and let's see what happens after just a few more frames on. So you can actually see George has recovered that. So actually, George was covering one of them. So if we I'm just going to go back a little bit there. Oops. So go there. Ollie actually steps out a little bit to try and stop the shot. They get a little bit lucky and it goes in. But that's the difference sometimes. I'm just going to stop it there. Is when we're in a position, going back a little bit here, is that decision making there? Do I go to the player with the ball or not? Ollie's in an impossible situation there. Because if he goes to the ball, he lets players run on. If he steps off, the player just keeps running and running. So that has to be the responsibility of a midfielder to get back to block that and make a challenge. Otherwise, it's just too much to do for Ollie. So there, you've got 3 players running through on goal. Yes, Heiko's covering, Ollie's there, and George is covering. But you've basically got 3 against 2 there until Heiko recovers that little bit more. So when we run that through,
what even happened with that goal? Did George miss the ball or something?
No, so I can't remember. It comes off George, then George blocks it, great block, and yet there's still yet another player. So if you look when that goal's scored, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 Cheltenham players in the box against George, and I think that's Ollie there.
Oh yeah, but
so in terms of the urgency to get to those players, we've not done a good enough job to get there. It's been too easy for them, and it's ricocheted. It's got a bit lucky with the bounce. But bottom line is, Mackie's got a shot against him from about 3 meters outside his goal, and not many people are going to miss from there. Mackie, you could have done better there. So I'll just play it on a little bit from your perspective. It comes very quickly. Still there, Mackie? No. All right, we'll move on then. Right, let's look at the next goal then.
Yeah. Maybe.
Okay. if we look here, this is obviously one of the goals we get in. We led away. What kind of things should we be looking at? We've got 2 defenders in the shot at the moment. Obviously, we can't see the whole pitch. What are we?
George could come up. George could come out wide.
Yeah.
Wide.
Okay, so what are the immediate issues that we've got at the moment?
All too narrow.
Player Preston Mackey.
Yeah, so that player's bearing down on Mackey. So Mackey has to get rid of the ball. He has to make a pass or send the ball somewhere.
And someone's marking George.
So yeah, George has got pressure here, and I think that's Ollie behind there. Okay, so we'll play on a little bit there, and then we've got see what would have been the better option there. So see what happens. Play on a few more seconds. There. Okay, so what's happened is that player's really pressured a lot to try and make a mistake. And look where the ball, and they ends up straight there. And again, it's a relatively easy goal for them, and that's
If he
got into our positions quick enough to react to help Mackey here. Have a look at this one again here.
Oh yeah, this goal. I remember this goal.
Yeah, I don't think. I said it was one of those bad ones. But let's look at Mackey's got the ball there.
Did he pass it to Sheldon and then Sheldon missed it?
So, looking at the players on the pitch there, Sheldon's asked for the ball. Nothing wrong with that to receive. But look at the positioning of all the other players on there. I'm more thinking of defensive and midfielders. How many people are in a comfortable place to actually receive the ball, do you think?
Ollie,
I'd say, yeah, he's got no one anywhere near him, correct? Yeah.
No one else, really.
Yeah, no one else.
So the idea is when the goalkeeper has got
to the left of Sheldon.
Sorry, what was that?
What about the player to the left of Sheldon?
In the middle.
Yeah, it's hard to see whether they're marked, but yeah, absolutely. There's another player there. I can't see if there's someone behind number 3. Yeah.
Because he would have been a better option than Sheldon, because nobody's marking him, and someone's tight to Sheldon behind him. So,
what could have Sheldon done better to make him receive the ball?
He could have moved around all that space.
Okay.
Or maybe
Let's assume the ball's coming towards him. What could he do?
play it out wide to me or Mackey.
Okay, one touch. What else could he do?
Ball up.
I'm more
shield
thinking now the player's bearing down on him. If he doesn't do anything, that player might get the ball. What could he do?
He could have played it to the person next to him and then run round him.
Side on.
No. Let's watch what happens. So what's actually happened there?
He's let the player go in front of him. The Cheltenham player, because Sheldon let the Cheltenham player get in front of him.
So what should have Sheldon done?
On towards the ball.
Yes, thank you, Ryan. Yes, correct. So one of the things we've been talking about at training a little bit is being on the move to receive the ball. Because if you're static and someone's near you, they'll just run past you and get it. And that is probably one of the easiest goals we've conceded because we've been static. We've got to look, first of all, where are my danger passes? So we had Ollie and that, and we always want to play forward, and there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes we don't want to go with the boring pass, but losing it there, obviously we can see what happens afterwards is he's got an easy shot on goal because we've lost possession in such a risky area of the pitch there. So we've got to move. So the midfield especially have to be on the move to receive the ball, running into space. Certainly not standing still waiting to receive, because any good team will pressure you and you'll lose the ball. And we see what happens. It's a really, really easy goal for the other team, which we could have definitely stopped. So, I'll leave it there for tonight. That's about an hour there, and we covered quite a lot. Did you find that useful?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay. There's so many things we can look at, not just our own matches. I think our own matches are good because you try and look at what we've done and how we could have done things better in games. But of course, it's easier said than done when you're playing the game. That's for sure. But some of the talking around through balls and other things, we'll talk them through, and then we can see how well we do those in games. I mean, we've got full games as well, and what I might do is look at some of our passages in our game. It's quite time consuming, so I might not be able to do that. We might be able to pick some highlights out of our games about where we do things well, where we don't do things well in these different phases of play, whether that's defending, playing through ball, attacking. Maybe next time we can look at attacking and maybe some of the decision making we're making in the top third, which has meant we've scored so few goals, and see where we can improve on that. So we'll leave it there for tonight, boys. I hope that was useful. I hope you find it boring. I know there's a lot of talking, a lot of watching, but at least it's relevant, and at least kind of go away thinking, well, actually, there were things there that I realise we need to do better at, and we can talk about it a bit further next time. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. I might try and do one again on Saturday if I can get a little bit of work done on something for Saturday morning. If not, we'll definitely do it on Wednesday again. And we'll keep doing them every Wednesday instead of training on a different topic each time and a different game. We've played enough games this season. We can certainly do that for the next few weeks. And hopefully I'll do something for Saturday morning as well. Maybe looking more on the match play from along the clip of the matches. All right.
Okay.
All right. Keep well. I hope you're all trying to do some level of exercise. I know it's not easy. I know it's now dark, wet, cold. It's not as interesting. So, but do try and get outdoors for a cycle, a walk. I know running's not the most interesting, but by the time we get back playing, boys, it'll do you good if you can get out there and do something that's raising your heart rate a little bit. I know it's hard to motivate yourself, but try and get out and do something at least. And
I've been playing football with my brother.
I go on.
My school my year group went into lockdown today, so I'm isolated for 2 weeks.
Well, you've got no excuse for not doing lots of running during the day then, Ollie.
Go in the garden, Ollie.
Run your laps around the garden.
I've been doing running on my treadmill, so I'm fine.
Good. Anything that is good, you must keep it up. Otherwise, it's going to be a bit of a shock when we get back to playing in a few weeks. So try and do something. Right, I'll leave you to go and get your tea or whatever you need to do, boys. But good interaction on most of you. Hopefully, I'll hear from more of you as we do a few more of them. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Alex.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Cheers, Alex. Bye.